Thanks for tuning in to the Recruits post-game edition. I think this is our first one, Grant, and the game started off looking nice. Montreal had some good jump. Anderson comes out with the opening goal and again makes an immediate impact in this game, but it looked like the first half of the game was different, a lot different than the second half.
Yeah, that's for sure. It seems like against Toronto, how many times has this happened? But it's like a tale of two games. You can write I'd hate to have to file a report at the end of the game because you'd be changing the story halfway through every time. Like, so, talk about how good Montreal was breaking out the passes. Their transition game the first half was very good. They're getting out of their zone. Well, the forwards puck support was excellent. They were breaking out. They had the better play, and then all of a sudden they're that 4-on-4. Oh my goodness, that seemed to change the whole momentum of the game right there. Where I questioned it with a tweet and everything, and why you would start Deneau and Gallagher, a line that really hasn't been clicking of late. Deneau with no goals all season long, 4-on-4. Gallagher, not the fastest skater in the world, and maybe not the best defensively. And you 4-on-4, it just didn't seem like the right, for me, it was Suzuki Anderson or even Suzuki Drouin or Toffoli, even would have been what you start that with, and they got caught. It's not the first shift this year either where Deneau's line, Deneau couldn't get the puck out. I don't know why they didn't at least even ice it by the time it was about 80 seconds into it, and Toronto had already, they'd already changed their lines and they were fresh, and puck came to Sherratt there and he fumbled it, and Gallagher fumbled it, Deneau fumbled it. They just iced the puck and even get a breather, and they didn't do that. And I think it changed the game. And after that, it was Montreal had trouble getting it out of their zone a few more times, and it just unfortunately Pricer again with the back-to-back goals where he lets one in, and then the very next chance, another one goes in. I mean, it wasn't his fault, the bounce necessarily, but again, he's not as sharp as he could be. Wasn't tracking the puck great, I thought, tonight either at times. Sometimes he did, but there were a couple of instances where the puck went behind the net and he was on the wrong side of the net and he had no clue that it was on the other side. And luckily, the Leafs, didn't get the puck in the slot, or they had easy goals at that point. So I still don't think he's as sharp as he could be. And, his save percentage is under 900, and you can't have that. You have to be 910 plus, preferably 915 plus. And he's under 900 save percentage. That's not going to do it.
Yeah, like the more Allen shows up and plays and outplays them, I mean, it's just, this season's weird to begin with, but, in terms of the goaltending tandem, it's hard to get consistent minutes in, and that's what Price is used to. He's never had this situation before. And even on that 4-on-4 when they couldn't clear the puck, I mean, he read the play. The puck was dumped in. He read the play. He stopped the puck. They got control. You figure they're going to get it out. So it was Sherratt, Gallagher, like you said, Deneau. There were so many chances to clear that puck out. And then of all people, Travis Dermott, who didn't have a goal all year, gets his first one. And then Justin Hall gets his first goal. And then was it Hyman or Mikheyev? Actually,
Mikheyev.
all three of these guys haven't scored in almost a calendar friggin' year.
Habs killers, those dreaded Habs killers, Mikheyev, Hall, and Dermott. Yeah. Yeah. Have they ever scored a goal against Montreal before? It's like, it's one of those games where you just, I said expect the unexpected in the pregame show, and that definitely was what it ended up being with those guys scoring the goals. I just, I tweeted out there in the second period, it was time. the Deneau line needed to be broken up, and they finally did it. I know Claude you can't live in the past with these guys. They were a good line, but right now they're not. And they had gone 11. It was going to be 11 straight games with Deneau and Tatar not scoring a goal. Tatar finally scored one, but after he was moved to another line, got demoted, and he said, "Oh, maybe I better wake up here."
Yeah, he looked pretty pissed off tonight.
Yeah, yeah. Even after he scored there, you could see his,
He was still
shield
mad.
was fogged up, and he was kind of, he didn't look that happy. But hey, he needed the kick in the arse.
Well, somebody should have been pissed off, right? I mean, like,
well, yeah. I mean, sorry, but I was looking at the stats after, and top two lines are Drouin or Suzuki and even with Tatar's goal, if you want to count it as top six, line goal, which really it wasn't because he was on the third or fourth line. 4 goals between 4 of the forwards on the top 6 have 4 goals in their last 11 games. Suzuki has 2, Drouin has 1, and Tatar just got that 1. But until he scored that 3, and who's the other guy that hasn't scored? There's 4 guys on in the top 6 that had 4 goals between them. That's not good enough. Deneau has none. That's the other guy. So a week ago, it's funny when I was mentioning, Cole Caulfield's ready. He's ready to play, and people are saying, well, what line's going to play? Where are you going to play him? Well, I don't think people are saying that anymore.
Goodness, no.
He would have been, he could have took Tatar's spot on that line, all game as far as I was concerned today. They need a goal scorer with speed and skill. They've got, Anderson's got speed and a shot, but he's not a puck guy. He's not a skill guy per se. Toffoli has the hands and the shot, but he's not a speed guy. Suzuki and Drouin aren't goal scorers. Like, they could be maybe, but they don't shoot. They really could use that piece. It's the missing piece as far as I'm concerned. Somebody that can create goals, by himself even. Not afraid to shoot, has a great shot, would be fantastic on that power play. I kept thinking tonight again, needed a Caulfield out there, to spark that power play. And I really think he's going to be a welcome addition before the end of this season, and it could really help vault them into a better playoff spot, and maybe even help them, win some playoff games if they sign him, and I'm pretty sure they will.
Yeah, that's what the impression is. I mean, I'm fine with him going to the Rocket for a while, maybe even if it's just 2-3 weeks. I mean, I thought the same thing on the power play, Grant. I mean, my gosh, like, we were up 1-0 still, and I was still very frustrated with the power play watching it. And again, they're not dangerous enough. And Cole Caulfield's shot is going to be lethal, hopefully. And the Canadians really haven't had a player like that. They haven't had a pure sniper. Pacioretty, I said, was the closest they've had, and I think he's got a better shot than Pacioretty even now, before being in the NHL. And it's also frustrating, Grant, seeing. I mean, I know Kotkaniemi's your guy. You had eyes on him before he was even drafted, but I feel sorry for him because he's not dangerous, and also even Drouin tonight really frustrated me. There's a lot of, I don't know if you noticed this, but Drouin did it twice, Suzuki did it once. A lot of these drop passes to no one on the power play or just in the offensive zone. They're driving me nuts.
Yeah, I wrote. I'm writing up my dirty dozen for recruits for tomorrow, and one of the things I noted was that Drouin, I think he'd be happier with 5 goals and 60 assists than he would 30 goals and 40 assists. He just doesn't want to shoot. He wants to make the pass all the time, the easy play. It's the most frustrating thing about his game right now is that he just that 30-40 goal scorer that I saw in junior that I thought would be at least a 25 goal scorer in the NHL is just, he's run out of time for that. It just seems like he doesn't want to, it's hard to score goals, right? in the NHL. You got to drive to the net. You got to want it. You got to, it's easier just to dish the puck off. And I mean, he's a fabulous playmaker and all that stuff, but you got to have more than one dimension to your game sometimes. And I have to agree that, and Suzuki's the same way. He's a little frustrating in that sense where he's got a great shot too, and he doesn't use it nearly often enough. That's why I think they need a Caulfield, and maybe he'll need a little time in Laval. Again, right now, there's guys that he could replace in the top 9 as far as I'm concerned. And Kotkaniemi, he's still got some growing to do, that's for sure. Sometimes you wonder about his hockey sense. Once in a while, there, you're wondering. You're still a little worried about that part of it. I think physically, a year or two from now, he'll be pretty dominant. But he's certainly sometimes it's a little frustrating. He'll shoot when he shouldn't, and he'll it's kind of the opposite of Drouin and Suzuki in that sense. He'll take the shots when he shouldn't, and they'll make the pass when they shouldn't. So but I think part of it too is he's got a better line mate in Toffoli, but Toffoli's not fast. Armia, you're only getting so much offense from him. Perry's not fast either. I personally would like to see him playing with Caulfield. I really think that might be a good combo in the future. KK likes to get in the corners, dig the puck out. A little different centerman in that way, than a lot of them. But that's I get the feeding. I can see him feeding Caulfield and that becoming a pretty deadly combo. I'd like to see them playing with the Foley and see what that line can do before the end of this season.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I just did a video on that as well, and it's true because on a third line like that, that's where I envision Caulfield. You don't want to bury him on the fourth line at the beginning of his NHL career. So I think Armia, in terms of that line, may be the odd man out. He's in a contract year. We know that Danault's in a contract year. And I'm going to touch on Danault and Drouin again as well, just for a minute, because every time they actually did get a couple of chances tonight. Drouin actually, remember, stripped the puck in the O-zone, got himself his own chance, but just didn't put any mustard on his shot. And Danault, same thing. Like when Danault gets the puck and he shoots it, you can see he knows he's not going to score. So you need a guy like Caulfield who knows he's going to score. Like you need that offensive punch because something's really still missing there.
Yeah, for sure. Even Danault can't shoot. Like he's got a pop gun shot. Drouin can, but a lot of times he doesn't get, like you say, he doesn't get a lot of mustard on it. It's
like doesn't have to be pretty, like that's
what me. No, I don't. I know he does. He's got a hard shot when, he's got to be positioned right and his release has got to be right. But yeah, there are times when he doesn't get enough on it. That's for sure. And Caulfield, Frig, he can, he can whip it from off 1 foot. He can be standing. He can be sideways and he can shoot it 90 miles an hour top corner, and they've got a lot of good playmakers. And I really think that the Caulfield is someone that can help this team before the end of the year. And there's enough good defensive players, enough insulation, solid defense. I think they can insulate them, team's a lot bigger than they were. Today's lineup, it was the first time that I can remember in a long time where there was only one player in the lineup under 5'11", I do believe, Gallagher. Been a long time since you could say that about a Montreal lineup. Big. So, you can further insulate a 5'7", 5'8" guy like Caulfield when, you don't have a lineup full of 5'8", 5'9" guys. So I think, Byron, I'm glad he's the guy that sat out tonight, but you're going to see Perry, coming out of the lineup as well. And the two of them maybe rotate a bit. But when Caulfield gets in there, Byron might be the odd man out, if they don't trade Tatar or Danault before the trade deadline. That's going to get interesting. because they're not playing that well. They're UFAs to be. Do you let their, do you trade them while they still have a decent trade value, or if they keep struggling, they're not going to get as much for them if they keep struggling like that. Like I don't know, 35 games into the year, if he still doesn't have a goal, how much is a team gonna be willing to trade for him? If so it Bergevin's got some question marks there that he's going to have to answer pretty quickly.
Well, that's the thing too, is shouldn't be a first line center. That's not where he should be. And I think that it's highlighted even more now. He's still a great two-way guy, but I mean, having him be your first line center it's not where you really want to slot him in. And since the beginning of the year, to me, he's looked like a guy who knows he's playing in a contract year and probably shouldn't be the first line center, but he wants to be, and they're allowing it to continue, at least for now. I'll be really surprised if we don't see some real juggling to these lines going forward.
Yeah, well, a lot of nights I think Suzuki, ends up getting more ice time. They're pretty close. I would say, at best he's 1B right now. I think if you looked at their ice time on the year, maybe he has more ice time than Suzuki, but it's close. Certainly when you don't count shorthanded, if you count even strength and power play, Suzuki's playing more. So I kind of consider him that to be the top line now. But yeah, it's very close. Like it's 1A, 1B type thing almost. And I don't even, you say he's a very good two-way. He is when he's producing, but when you don't have a goal in 12 games, that's not two-way. That's one way, that's defensive only, So yeah, he can be a good two-way player, but you have to score you got to score a couple of times at least every 12 games, to be considered two-way in my books.
Yeah, I mean, like before it's too late, I think they got to look at. But what do you do? I mean, like who do you put at first line center? I mean, I think they're probably going to leave Phil there for the time being. I mean, I'd be fine with Anderson playing that first line, but then again, you're not going to put Gallagher, your newest high-paid forward, on the second line. I don't see that happening. So there's some juggling and some things to be figured out, because if anything, they got exposed tonight against the Toronto Maple Leafs in what's considered, the two top teams in the division. We haven't seen Winnipeg yet with Pierre-Luc Dubois on that squad. We're going to see him soon, but yeah, there's some big questions for Claude, and I think the guys going forward, it's a contract year for a lot of these guys. There's just a lot of question marks right now, at least in terms of seeing them play like the best team in the division. They have some questions still that need to be answered.
Yeah, for sure. It was they just can't seem to put together 60 minutes against Toronto, and it's been like that for a long time. It's frustrating. You've seen it happen a lot of times. They'll have a great first 20, 30 minutes against them, and then, whether it's a penalty call and a power play goal against, or the 4-on-4 this time, it seemed to, switch the whole momentum. One bad shift, and it was, it was the difference in the game, and they didn't look nearly as good in the second half. And it's frustrating because they're fully capable of playing a good 60-minute game, but you got to have four lines going, and they haven't had four lines going really all year. Even against Vancouver, when they were having those big games, the Danault line, wasn't doing much. And I consider that the second line. Maybe I don't know, but I don't think you can put numbers on it. If you look at the ice time on them and the points and everything, I don't believe they're getting more ice time than, certainly not more offensive opportunities than the Suzuki line. That to me is the number one line now. But you got a rookie, you've got two guys that have 3 goals between them, they're not shooting, so even that's not really a bona fide number one line right now. So back to the same old drawing board again here, right? Montreal still doesn't really have a legitimate first line, and if they go into the playoffs and that's still the case, it's going to be tough. You got to play 18-20 minutes and outplay the other team's top line. You don't have a legitimate first line, that doesn't matter how deep you are, it's going to be really tough to win 3 or 4 series, let alone 1 or 2. So um, I keep looking back at Caulfield, and he's going to be the Hobie Baker winner. He's made such a step. I've watched all his games this year, watched them all last year too. He's reached that next level. I think he's the best player in college hockey, and the best player in college hockey, as a rule, steps right into the NHL and contributes. They don't even go down to the AHL. Maybe he needs 2 or 3 weeks, but I don't know. I think he's exactly what the doctor ordered, and he'll his agent might even say, well, we'll sign, but you got to guarantee that, he's playing right away. That often a lot of, contracts, college guys end up, they get the promise that they're going to stay. So it may not even have a choice that way. But as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't hesitate. Say, yeah, you're in the lineup, because I think he can play and contribute right now.
Well, I'm curious to see what other Habs fans think, because we've all been kind of calling for it. We saw your commentary, your tweet, even this week, responding to another article that stated that he is in fact NHL ready. And you said, in fact, I repeat, he is NHL ready. And the biggest thing we're getting from this post-game video tonight, Grant, is that you believe Caulfield is ready and the Canadiens need to take him now.
Yeah, I hope they lose in the first round of the regionals there. I don't want them in the Frozen Four. I want their season over with quickly, Wisconsin, so that they can sign him. And the neat thing about this year too is that the NCAA season is going to end the same time as it always does, but the NHL season's going later, so you can get the college player. You're going to get the college player for a lot longer than you normally would, So there'll be time for him to acclimatize even more than in a normal season. So yeah, I mean, sure, I don't mind if Wisconsin, obviously, if he, carries them to a championship or something, that'd be good too. Good experience for him. But if they lose in the regionals or get upset and like that, I'm not going to lose too much sleep about it, put it that way.
Going back to they're going to play Toronto. The Habs are going to play Toronto again in a couple of nights. We still haven't seen Michael Frolik, and we have no idea what he can bring to this lineup. Do you think we're going to see him? Because I think it would be a good time to shake things up in terms of the lineup. I don't think he's far away from making his Canadiens debut.
Well, I've made these suggestions before and was told by all these people that are following the cap and know it a lot better than I that that he couldn't be in the lineup. Hopefully, yeah. If I think Perry, he's on a 10-game emergency call-up, so he's only got one more that he can play, and then he goes through waivers again. I mean, if I guess with Byron out, I guess you can put Frolik in, right? Take out Perry, put in Frolik. I haven't been following that close enough, but I know a couple of times when I said, well, put in Frolik and Perry, they couldn't do it for whatever reasons, because they would have been over the cap. And I didn't quite understand it, but anyway, yeah, sure. Take out Perry and put in Frolik, take a little more speed and a little jump, maybe, get a little extra speed there. All that speed that everyone was talking about the Canadiens having the last few games hasn't been quite as noticeable. The Foley, Perry, those guys aren't the fastest afoot, and maybe you need a little bit of energy with Frolik in there. Typically, a guy comes in the lineup, hasn't been playing and stuff. He's running on adrenaline pretty good that first game for sure, and he might be the spark the team could use right now.
Well, I think they could certainly use it against Toronto in their rematch on Saturday. And between now and then, they got to reset pretty quickly. They're playing Edmonton tomorrow at home before they head to Toronto. So I guess we'll just wrap this one up for now, Grant. But Caulfield. That's the message. I think calling all Caulfields. I don't know.
Well,
but that's what it seems to be the consensus from your side, is that that's what the Canadiens need. And maybe you're right. I think we're going to talk about that more as the season goes on. But Canadians lose 3-1 to the Toronto Maple Leafs, or was it 4-1? Am I messing that up? I'm just anyway. Doesn't matter. Empty net.
I stopped watching after that empty netter. Not sure they could have scored 3 more. I'm not really sure. I was getting ready for the big broadcast at that point.
Yeah. The big time broadcast. Well, this is the first time doing the post-game show here on Recruits. So thank you to those that have tuned in. We appreciate you watching. Let us know what you guys think about Cole Caulfield maybe arriving sooner than later, because it sounds like Grant says that, it's all but a sure thing that they need him above all else.